And we are back with another episode of Tales from the Riff, coming in hot like Lebanese dinner. So today I'm joined by Herakleion in Metairie. I have Mr. Christian.
Hello.
Apollo.
Hi.
And I got Speed.
Hey, how's it going?
Drummer extraordinaire. And I just want to say thank you again for the hospitality, guys.
Not a problem.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming down, man.
I enjoyed my time here in New Orleans, dude. And so any given excuse to come out here and it's for a podcast, I'm hyped. Let's talk about how Herakleion came into existence.
All right, let's start with, we're going to go back to the pandemic.
Okay.
Still in it, technically.
Right.
Knee deep in it.
Right. So the start of the pandemic, I guess quarantine, about 2 weeks into quarantine, I had an internet ad out looking for a drummer. I was trying to find someone who was able to play, thrash, death metal, crossover, anything fast, and after crossing my I's and dotting my T's, I found a really good drummer. I found Speed.
Yeah.
And we went into the room. We clicked right into it. We laid out a cover, and shortly after, we started playing some original music. Yeah, that's how it started.
Yep. So what type of musical influences y'all shared together that made everything connect, that y'all know that it was going to be, this is going to be something?
Well, for us, the three of us currently, it was mainly the Florida death metal scene and some outside influences like Pestilence and stuff like that. So,
yeah, a lot of early death metal, early thrash metal, a lot of the raw, aggressive kind of side of music. I guess some grindy guitars, and yeah.
So I guess what I'm curious in knowing is, like, since I have three of y'all here, like to get like a good little metal journey from each of you, like what started y'all on the path of and as far as the extreme metal influences, which y'all, like, how it got turned on to it. If you just want to elaborate on that, when we start, whoever who wants to go first. Christian?
I had as a young man when the Warped Tour was still going around, I had really hardly ever missed a Warped Tour since I was 13. And so I was exposed to a lot. I mean, I mostly went for the pop punk bands because I was like Taking Back Sunday and Brand New and all that kind of stuff. I love that. But, while you're there, I mean, there's tons of other bands going around. So there was, at the time, there's like Chelsea Grin and Whitechapel and like those kind of bands. And I've kind of, not to say that the music isn't good or anything, but it's like I kind of felt like I grew out of that as I discovered more bands. Like, it was really like a turn from when I just really started listening to Black Sabbath, and I started falling in love with that kind of old school sound, just with everything in general. And I found that with my metal too. So like they were saying, Florida death metal scene bands like Death and Morbid Angel, kind of, and Florida Transplant Band, was really what captured my attention and what really resonated with me as a musician later on in life as well.
What was the Sabbath record that you fell in love? Because there's guys that love Paranoid, there's guys that love the self-titled, the guys who love
my first exposure, which still maybe just for nostalgic purposes, but Sabotage. That was that was where it got me. And I mean, it's still to this day, like I pick up my bass guitar and subconsciously I'm just like playing Hole in the Sky. It comes out. I'm having a conversation with people and it's just my muscle memory kicks in and I'm like, so it always comes back to home for me with that album.
Can't go wrong with Sabotage. Not at
That's
all.
right.
A heavy album.
How about you, Paulo?
Well, I started off with a lot of basic bands we all know, Green Day, Guns N' Roses, and then I started getting into stuff like Metallica. I found Megadeth. Mm-hmm. Then it was a whole different world. I started getting into, at a young age, I was getting into a lot of online metal radio stations.
Yep.
So when I'm like at home doing homework or playing video games, I would hear this band, Testament, pop up, and it's like, whoa, what is this? And then King Diamond comes right afterwards. So I was just introduced to a whole new world of metal via the internet at my fingertips, pretty much.
So how long you've been playing personally guitar or music in general?
Music? Well, I mean, I've picked up the guitar. I started with acoustic guitar when I was 5 years old. and then I picked up on electric guitar by the age of 10.
Wow.
So yeah, I had a couple of private lessons, but mostly it was just self-taught and having an ear for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. What was you remember the first riff that you just fell in love with that you had to play?
Oh, Smoke on the Water. Smoke on the Water.
035.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mentioned it before, but yeah, I've been playing for like just maybe almost 3 years now, and that was the first thing that my guitarist just he's like, hey, you could do this. I was like, oh, cool.
Yep.
Knock a riff out. Great.
Exactly. Everyone knows that riff too.
Yep. How about you, Speed?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely started out with the basic stuff, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, and all the new wave of British heavy metal stuff. And then around middle school, I got Roar, Voivod's second record, and from then on, it was like, all right, what's heavier than this? That was the bass line. So just ever since then, really.
How long you been playing?
So I've been playing drums since I was 2.
Wow.
So yeah, my mom had a drum set, and they just kind of like sat me up back there, and they're like, "Here's the floor tom, here's your ride cymbal and stuff." So.
And just from every day forward, you've been playing drums.
Yeah, for a while I was self-taught, and then I started taking lessons around middle school with Ray Franson over here in Kenner.
Okay. What was the first band that like really like that you felt like something was your own? I know Dad has a whole lot of influence on you from the jump, but what is like one band that you think that you can identify with as a drummer, as a musician, that's just completely your own?
Completely my own would probably be Megadeth, because I found them and I'm like, oh, this is heavier than the stuff you're showing me. And as far as drum influence, Gar Samuelson is just so great.
Yeah.
So great.
Neat, man. And if we could just break down, I mean, I don't know if y'all want to talk about this because this hasn't been released yet. The EP.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, sure. Any
Yeah.
questions?
Why don't? All right. So why don't we break down like the some of the lyrical content as far as like the opening track.
Okay, Herakleion. So the lyrical content, it's basically about the city, the sunken city, and how the gods were like punishing the humans because of, I guess, sacrilege, that they were praying to multiple gods. Because Herakleion is a not just an ancient Greek city, but there was also some ancient Egyptian elements.
Oh.
And some ancient Egyptian heritage in that city as well.
Thaunis was the other name for the city.
Thaunis, yeah.
Egyptians,
Thaunis, yeah.
We have a Greek guy in the band, so we went with the with the first one.
When he said Apollo, I looked at it, I was like, I didn't want to assume things, but I was like, he's got to be Greek.
Yeah,
and then we were having Greek food tonight.
Yeah.
But
Pure coincidence.
let me ask you a quick question. I mean, have you heard of the band from Norway, Necromantheon?
No, I've never heard of them before.
Their latest work, and a lot of their songs actually are based on Greek mythology.
Oh wow!
Even though they're from Norway, like a lot of their lyrical content, I can show you the track listing on this. I love the band. I mean, it is. I mean, you're wearing the right shirt because they grew up on Creator, they grew up on Dark Throne, they grew up on everything like thrash, Slayer.
Nice. I gotta give them a listen.
Definitely.
Necromantheon.
I mean, it's like my new favorite band. Besides y'all, yeah. I mean, that's all I listen to is Necromantheon. They have a song called Thanos.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And it's
about right.
It's really, really, really good.
It was my roommate and I at the time were just deep diving through YouTube videos as one does when you're bored and have a couple beers on the couch, and it was a video that had come up. But as I've done further research after we agreed on it, it was actually more popularly called Thaunis, so it makes more sense. They would, if they were writing about that city, they would use that name. But I like it for us because it's so hard to come up with an original band name in metal in 2021.
Yeah, very hard.
With the time when we met, and it seemed like as original as ever. And we always get after every show like, oh, but how do you guys say your name again?
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of like that about it too, and it works on multiple levels because the city is a sunken city now. It wasn't discovered up until about 20 years ago. And technically, we do live in a city that is below sea level. So, I'm happy
Makes
with
sense.
It makes total sense, man. That's good stuff. And whenever I'm always fascinated by vocalists, and especially in your case, you write guitars and the vocals itself. So what hits you first? Is it the vocal content or like the riffs?
No, it's just the riffs. It's always the instruments and the music first that comes to me. I write the lyrics and whatever I might hear in my head after the riffs are written.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, riffs first.
Awesome.
Riffs come first.
And you just give them to your rhythm section and say, hey, have fun?
Well, yeah, well, so let's dive into that a little bit. What we usually do is I would run a riff over to Christian or vice versa, and we would have a couch session where I go over to his house and we write the song together.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we bring the song to the room and approach it to speed and see what he can do with it. So, and things might change in the room, but, you know, that's how we've been doing it.
You never really know how it comes together till the drums get involved anyway, and
Right.
then the thing
At
can
the end of the
change
day,
quite a
yeah.
bit. And he also plays guitar and bass. He's very modest, but he has some opinion on how things should be arranged. And it's it takes all three of us to put everything together,
sure.
and even then we can have a song for 2 months, and then we're like, you know what we should do on this part?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
whole thing.
But yeah, no, it's definitely all three of us kind of writing process, and Apollo does most of the lyrics. I'd say like 95%, I think.
Yeah.
We the one time I attempted was for cryogenic death, and I think we ended up like moving most most of what I wrote around anyway. So, but yeah, it takes all three of us.
You just reminded me of a little comedian skit. I forget who did it, but it was so funny because it's like Ringo Starr wrote a song for the Beatles, and he was like, look, I got this song, and the guy who's impersonating John Lennon, he's like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to put your song right here, mate. I'm going to put it right here in the refrigerator. and that'll be your song.
And my initial draft did, in fact, get put on the refrigerator. But we kept the song title, so that was cool.
Right. That's awesome, man. So, you play guitar and bass, or is that Speed?
No.
That's this young man.
Yeah.
Speed. He
Yes.
plays guitar and bass and drums. He can do it all. And he's got some pretty death metal vocals as well. But
I refuse to use
But
those.
he does refuse to use his powers for good.
So we know he's going solo after this project.
You're
Right?
right.
So drums is actually is that your favorite instrument to play, Speed, or do you?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to learn covers on guitar and bass and try to come up with riffs, but that's where these guys are. I can't hardly write on guitar or bass or anything. It's just drums.
Yeah.
I mean, he did write the intro riff for Curse of Eternity.
It's a good riff,
man.
man.
He did have some play in that.
Oh, that was on accident. That
Right.
doesn't count.
Right.
It still counts.
So, being that you're still in high school, or you graduated?
No, I'm halfway through college.
Okay. Oh, and you're just 18,
I just turned 19.
19,
Yeah.
so halfway through college.
Yeah.
Man, you're like the most overachieving 9-year-old ever.
He's like the most responsible person for his age that I have ever met. 'Cause,
Right. I can
I look
attest to
back
that
to
as
when
well.
I was 19 years old, and I was not on that.
None of us
path
were
at
doing
all.
anything.
the,
that Speed was doing.
the best I could do was join the military, so you're doing awesome. So what was what was like the biggest challenge to this point with the band as far as like, starting and touring, putting out the EP? I mean, has it been difficult for y'all guys, or not so much?
I'd say the only challenge was finding a bass player, because we were together probably 6-7 months. We couldn't find anyone, let alone someone serious to do anything. And then we just happened to walk right up to one because he had a cool shirt on. And we were like, oh, nice shirt. And he's like, oh, you'll need a bass player, before we even said we were a band or anything.
Right.
So,
That's awesome.
That kind of just paneled out that way. I mean, as far as everything's been going organically,
yeah.
as
smooth.
we haven't gone into any bumps yet. We haven't hit the road yet. We've only played about 4 shows, so everything right now we could say is going smoothly.
I mean, you had me convinced that y'all played way more shows than that, because I mean, y'all would. What I caught was so tight sounding, man, and it takes some bands, a couple of dates to get as a well-oiled machine like it was.
We practice about twice a week, and we haven't missed a week in months, and probably ever. I think maybe there's been like one or two
one time.
in
There
the
was
time
one
we've been a
time,
band,
right, that we've missed,
which
practice,
we're coming up on about. We're close to a year now. So I mean, we play with each other all the time, and the chemistry in the room has never been the issue ever with anything we've ever done. I feel like we've always been on the same page as far as songwriting and jamming, and we know when we're having a bad day in the room, and but I musical chemistry wise, it's smooth as it's ever been. With any project I've ever been a part of, and so that's the easy part. It's just getting out there and dealing with all the other stuff that comes with being in a band that's not just showing up to the gig and walking on stage.
Right, the business aspect of it that a lot of people are not shown.
But it's a good problems to have. I'd at least we don't have to worry about what we do in the room. We never have had an issue with that. So.
Right. Yeah, you're off to a fantastic start. I mean, as far
thank you.
Especially in a time with social media is present. You had mentioned earlier that you found a lot of music on the internet, but guys like me and your dad, dude, we had to go scout everything out in record stores or word of mouth, things of that nature, or whatever we saw on TV. The show that I would always stand by was Haymaker's Ball, on MTV, and dude.
Oh yeah.
That was a godsend for me because my grandma had cable and we didn't growing up. So every time I went to, I was always at my grandma's house growing up, and she did not. She's like, "Oh, you just love me." No, you got cable.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you, but you got cable, and there's a show that opens up with Anthrax. So I was, that's where I was, man. And but my point is that y'all growing up in this world now, where everything is to y'all advantage, man, to spread the word and just get y'all stuff out there and for everyone to hear. I mean, in my opinion, I'll say it again. It's y'all a perfect marriage. Death's Leprosy, Morbid Angel, Covenant, tacked with his influence of Megadeth. I hear some Hangar 18 stuff going on, and Rust in Peace and all that. So man, y'all got something going. Seriously.
Right on, man.
I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I'm just not. Just because you give me Lebanese food, it's because
anything's coming out your ass, it's because of the Lebanese food.
What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, it might be another trip to the bathrooms. Well, man, so what do y'all say y'all could give back to the metal community here in New Orleans area? What do y'all feel as though y'all can contribute?
I don't feel like there's a whole lot of old school metal out here, and especially within, if they're out there, I'm not familiar, and it's kind of just bringing it back that older sound, and because you get a lot of in New Orleans especially, you get a lot of the hardcore scene out here, you get a lot of the punk scene out here, you get a lot of sludge. A lot of rock and roll too, especially out of Metairie. You got a lot of rock bands that come out from there, and I feel like just keeping it back to push the rewind button on the decade for a minute and bring back something like that kind of sound that we grew up forming our sound around as a band.
That people would enjoy it very much.
Yeah, and just making it our own too, because I mean we're not from 1990, but I mean we're in 2022. Playing like we are in 1990, and
we're just playing what we want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. The stuff that resonates with us, and but it is kind of strange because even on metal bills, sometimes it can feel like we're the odd ones out because of that kind of sound too.
For sure.
But yeah, just something a little different,
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I really do because, Speed mentioned it. There's a lot of sludge, and I don't hate sludge. I mean, I grew up on it. I love it.
No, it's good.
And I feel as though the more death thrash, death metal is not really represented a whole lot in our areas. I mean, there's in Lafayette there was a few death metal bands. And they're really good. One just recently broke up. Some good friends of mine, but they got something in the works, which is awesome to hear. And a lot of people are staying true to the sludge, and I hate to use the term, but that down sound,
yeah.
And but y'all coming into the fold along with another band that y'all was supposed to go on a show with, Void, bringing that old school thrash sound back, man, and I'll dude, that's I appreciate that. So thanks.
JCM 800s and white high tops and
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Bullet belts and
Leather jackets,
yeah.
denim, all of that.
Do it, man.
No orange amps.
No orange.
I just gotta.
No orange.
I love orange amps, but we don't use them.
I gotta put it out there. I mean, people can't see it, but maybe I'll put a picture out of the van. But Apollo was wearing a Creator shirt, and I saw that. I was like, "These are my people." Because
Creator.
I love Creator. Man, Millie, they just came out with a new one. You saw that?
I did see that they came out with a new record. I have not heard it yet.
New album art's killer though.
it is. It looks really
killer. And I watched the first video, and he's on his game. Like he had a lot of time to write this during the pandemic, and
Yeah.
Millie does not miss a beat.
No, they're
man.
still going strong for sure.
And it's actually funny you said that because my first show was my first concert ever was when I was 14, and I saw Creator, Nile, and Morbid Angel live in Athens, Greece. And it was a wonderful experience.
Wow.
Yeah, Creator was great. They packed the bill. They played everything from like Coma of Souls to Terrible Certainty. They played Flag of Hate always. And then they played like a few songs off of like Phantom Antichrist, but it sounded like the same band. You know, it's not like when a band is old and they play their older stuff and you could tell the difference. It's like you couldn't tell at all with Creator.
Yeah, there's some, not all American bands, but some American bands that just like want to cash out, put on a live show, and maybe there's no continuity between either all members or new members that when they do a air quotes reunion show, it doesn't sound the same. But something about the European bands that do this, like they have a certain self-discipline to their craft and their musicianship, and you hear that and you see it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and Creator's one of those guys.
It's
man.
like an evolving consistency, you know.
Mm-hmm. Favorite live shows, Chris? Like, what's something that you can think about, that a favorite memory of yours that you saw a show and just like fucking
It was even though it's not my main jam of music that I listen to all the time, I had a buddy of mine that was like, hey, I got some extra tickets. Do you want to go see Chon and Polyphia play at the House of Blues? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll go see it because I'm like, Math Rock, these guys probably got chops. And I was just blown away. I mean, some of the recordings that I had heard of these guys, when they rip it on stage, it's like not only are they wrecking every note, but they're adding extra notes and they're, doing their own little like flares on certain parts. And that was a really technically impressive show. I was genuinely, because I didn't know the music that well, so I was caught off guard when I went to go see it. If I go to see Testament, I know I'm going to see Testament. It's going to be a great show, and but that's one that sticks out in my mind just because I was not prepared for that kind of caliber of musicianship. Let's say some other ones. What was my first concert? I think my first concert was going to see it's like Blink 182. Like I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and I can't remember the name of the place that I went to. It was a skate park festival that they did every year, and it was like their kind of mini Warped Tour.
All right.
And I don't remember, but that was like, that one stuck out to me. And when I saw that as a young man, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be on a stage, and I want to do what they do. And I was playing drums at the time. I hadn't picked up a bass guitar yet, but that was definitely a concert that stood out in my mind where I was like, yeah, this looks like it'd be fun to do that for for a living.
For a living, yeah.
Those are two. Let's see. One more good one.
You guys go as many as you like, man. We made a dent in this time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Word. Well, in that case, let's see. Another big one that I saw. Nah, I'm out.
well, we did, besides the Crowbar show, that was impressive. Jesus Piece.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Actually, that was an awesome show. That was, I'm wearing a Jesus Piece shirt. I know the viewers at home can't see that, but it was Turnstile, Jesus Piece, and Touche Amore at the Spanish Moon in Baton Rouge, and that was an incredible show. My friend Roman, it was during Turnstile's set. They were playing Moon, which was the bass player's song, and they're singing, they're doing their thing, and people are stage diving because it's like a hardcore show. So like the crowd is way scarier than it is at your just regular mosh pit metal show, and people are stage diving. Well, one guy like jumps off the stage, goes completely horizontal, whips his leg around, And I like watched it in slow motion. My friend Roman, poor guy, standing there, and I just like watch his tooth leave his mouth and fly out. And we're just like, oh my God. So we got to like drag him outside. My friend was there. She was a veterinarian. And I was like, hey, come check out this dude's tooth. She's like, I work on dogs, not people. And I was like, you know what? You hang out here, bud. You're fine. And I just went back inside and finished out the show. I feel kind of bad about that later on in life, but
you're doing good, Roman.
I didn't want to miss that one, man. Everyone brought their 110% to that show, and there was so much energy and people just the whole crowd going nuts. That was a lot of fun. That concert always stands out in my mind. It was punk as hell. It was a good time, and yeah, I think that would be my three.
So how long do you lived in Vegas for?
I lived in Las Vegas. I moved there when I was like 8 years old, and I graduated high school there. So I was there about almost 10 years. And my mom was living in Baton Rouge, and after everybody hates their hometown they grow up in, so I was like, well, my mom lives here. It's different than where I am, so let me just go out there. And sure enough, kind of found my way into playing music down here, met some good people along the way, and here I am still playing shows all these years later. So, and now I got these dudes and just ready to take it as far as we can go, and everyone,
Hell yeah.
Yes. What about you, Apollo? Like, give me some background on your life here.
Well, I guess as far as like as far as seeing shows.
Well, as far as I'd say, just take me back to the time whenever you were 5 years old. You said you started playing guitar. So
yeah,
and you fell in love with what was it, Megadeth?
Yes,
Megadeth.
Yes, it was Megadeth first.
And it was like a bunch of internet radio, right?
Yeah, it was it was AOL radio.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you.
AOL radio for the nostalgic people out there. AOLradio.com. It was a huge rabbit hole of like thrash bands from SOD, MOD, Testament, Exhorder, Exodus, and then I saw some like obscure bands like Dark Angel, and then this band popped up, Sepultura, and I'm just like, I think the first song I listened to was Dead Embryonic Cells. It was the heaviest thing I ever heard in my life, dude. Like, when I listened to Sepultura, my whole life changed from there. It was like, I heard it. I've heard the heaviest thrash band I could hear. Then I started getting into bands like, okay, let's explore that genre a little bit. Then I saw Carcass like pop up on the subscriptions, some Carcass pages. And
was it Heartwork?
It wasn't Heartwork.
No?
It was Reek of Putrefaction.
Okay.
That was their very first record, and their very first song, Genital Grinder, was the first thing I heard from Carcass.
A title like that, you gotta be curious.
Yes.
Classic.
Yes. Then after that, it was just I started getting an ear for heavier music. As far as like seeing shows, I've seen. Like I said, my first show was Nile. Nile was great. The drummer, George Kolias, Greek as well. Yeah. He taught drums at one of the private guitar schools that I went to take a few lessons at.
Where was this?
This was in Athens.
So you grew up in Athens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, half New York, half Athens. Oh. So I would go for the summertime in Athens, and I found a guitar school over there, and there was I found out that George Kolias, the drummer from Nile, was teaching there, and one day I was, you could hear him playing, dude. It was like, I thought there was an earthquake,
right.
Because there was lots of earthquakes going on over there at the time. So I thought we were having another earthquake, and it's like, nah, it's the drummer from Nile, dude. He's teaching a class. But I gotta say, dude, like the band that really stood out to me performance-wise would be King Diamond.
Yeah,
I mean, they have everything. They have the musicianship. They have the theatricalness about them. I mean, it's like I could watch a live show from King Diamond and not get tired of it.
How did you react when you first heard that Andy LaRocque was like doing the solos for Death at that point?
Dude, that was I mean, it made sense because it's like I know this ain't Chuck doing all this fantastic lead work.
Right.
Yeah, individual thought patterns, the solos especially, sound completely different than the whole rest of their discography.
Right?
And I later down the road, I find Chuck's one of my guitar heroes naturally, like just about everyone else who listens to our kind of music. And when I found out that Chuck had enlisted Andy LaRocque, because I didn't buy the album back then. I just I would listen to my buddies' albums and stuff, and he was like, "Hey man, this it was like 94, 95." He's like, Andy LaRocque is on this album." I was like, "Who's that?" I was like 14, 15 years old at the time. I was like, I don't know who's on Andy LaRocque. He's like, dude, Merciful Fate, King Diamond. I was like, oh. And it's just like a whole new world, man. Yeah. But yeah, just like having those two minds in a recording studio, I mean, that's like a dream.
It's too much genius in one room.
You're exactly right, man. I had a follow-up question to your apology. How'd you end up in New Orleans?
Well, I was living in Greece before I came to New Orleans. I was staying with my dad. I hadn't really spent any time with him. He was like kind of absent for most of my life, so I took that opportunity where I spent multiple years in Greece. It was like 3 years to kind of, spend some time with him, get to know him a little bit better, and things were getting a little bit rough economically over there.
Yeah.
Further than they already were. So I found out that my mom moved to New Orleans. She needed some assistance down here, so I came down here, grabbed a job, and I've been down here ever since. I found Speed, Christian, and it's like more or less, wherever they go, I go.
That's it's like it became family, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. But mom is also from Greece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just kind of always like felt like interested in knowing about more other cultures, and that's why another reason why I joined the Marines too. I just wanted to get out there and meet new people, and
nice.
So, I'll probably have some more conversations with you after the fact.
Yeah.
But we could talk. I could talk on and on about this. So, how about you, Speed? I know before you even came out the room, you was listening to Voivod.
Oh yeah, they're a favorite for sure.
Yeah.
So, as far as shows go, though, I mean, obviously, the ones that come to mind are your big theatrical and, just trained musicians and stuff, like seeing Alice Cooper and stuff and Kiss, obviously. But I'd say that the main two for me was my first show, seeing Stone Temple Pilots with Scott Weiland at Voodoo Fest when I was a little kid.
I was there. I was at that same show.
It was awesome. That was a great show. And then my first
I
metal...
hate you. Wow. Wish I could have gone to that show.
Oh, that show was great. Should have been there.
The opportunities I've had to see Stone Temple Pilots, he's been gone for a while at that point. So
yeah.
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, and then my first metal show, too, was Voivod, Exhumed, Iron Reagan, and Napalm Death, which was nuts being a 12-year-old and trying not to get hit by people in the pit and stuff. I mean... Napalm Death opened up with the first track off of Harmony Corruption, which is ironic since that's now my favorite of their songs. But it got so bad. The show was upstairs, and my dad and I were like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and go downstairs for this show." But
yeah,
that's a regret though.
Oh,
it was a good time.
So you mentioned that you're halfway done with college. What's your major? What's your major in?
So I'm majoring in a sleep study program currently called something long that I don't like remembering. But so that's what I was working on, and I'm also working on a biology degree.
Okay. You got any plans for like pre-med or anything like that? Or
not at the moment.
Oh.
Kind of squeamish when it comes to that stuff, so I'm just sticking with the good old external parts of the body.
There you go. I mean, that's really ambitious, and I hope you get whatever you want out of that.
Thank you.
True. Yeah, absolutely, man. But what I wanted to tap into as far as recording, like y'all do everything DIY, do it all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the bedroom right over there.
Yeah,
Really?
I was to say, if you
Literally
look to
right
your
over
left,
there.
you will see where we
A big box with wires sticking out of it.
And like, I guess the space is like the room right here to
Yeah.
the left. Is where the drums are located.
Yeah, it's in my bedroom.
Oh wow!
It's also our practice space.
Yes.
This is our this is HQ
This is
right
headquarters,
here,
yeah.
where all the magic
Herakleion
happens.
headquarters.
And that's awesome because you don't have to worry about renting a space out. And
You got it. The neighbor doesn't like it every once in a while, but
I'm gonna rent her out.
good, great answer.
But yeah, that's where all the magic happens. We track the songs first live in the room. First drums, with all the rest of the instruments, and then we do the instruments on top of it, like when we record the actual tracks on top of the drums, and then we send it off to get it mixed. That's how we did it the first time around.
Who does your mixing? If you don't mind asking.
OCD Studios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dwayne over there.
Yeah, like the Exhorter, Crowbar
Yep.
dudes, where they all get their work done. And he did a fantastic job, I think, on the EP as well.
Yeah.
And very much, he was actually over here yesterday, making sure that we had proper mic placements around the drums, and so he's kind of still giving us assistance through the recording process now, because when we gave him the initial recordings, he was kind of like, I wish I could have been there to set levels, and he did the best that he could with what we gave him. And I think it came out great, and I'm very much looking forward to working with him in the future as well.
Oh yeah.
I got some new songs already. In the waiting.
Oh yes, yes.
Demoing stuff.
Right.
Like tomorrow.
I was just getting some bass tones together actually about an hour before you came here. But we got a new batch of songs that we're coming out with.
Yeah.
Haven't decided if the next EP is going to be 3 or 4. Still kind of debating on that.
Or if we'll just hold out for a full length by the end of the year or something.
Because right now what we're doing is we're just getting some demos together to send off to somebody who wants to possibly produce us. Won't say who. And so we're getting those rough demos together just for our own sake to, have a recording to listen to and reflect on. And then we're going to send those off to him and see what he thinks. We've got a bunch of shows coming up in March, so we're gigging pretty heavy. We have a show, I think, like early second week of April. So we're staying pretty busy over the next month and a half, but we're going to come back to it and really do the damn thing and get the whole EP recorded. And who knows, we might have gotten some writing done by then. We might want to extend it to be a full length, but just kind of playing it by ear right now. I mean, there's so much to do all the time. It's it's impossible to do everything all at once at the same time with
But a lot of stuff is coming this year, more or less.
Yes, indeed. We're never stopping moving. We're always making progress every day we get together. So hopefully 4, bare minimum. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get it together. We're actually, a lot of the new tunes that we're going to record, if you come to see us live, they're not on.
I definitely am.
Yeah, they're not on the EP, but we're throwing in some of like the newer tunes that we're about to lay down. We've been throwing them into the live set and kind of seeing how they feeling out how the crowd likes them and stuff like that. And so far it's gone over pretty well. So we're excited, man. I'm ready to get another release out there, and hopefully it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I definitely saw on the calendar. Well, y'all just released a statement saying what some of the tours y'all gonna be doing, and y'all coming to my neck of the woods at Freetown Boom Boom Room on March 5th, I believe.
March 5th.
So.
Yep.
So I'll definitely be there, and in fact, I'm extending an invite. Y'all come to my house prior to the gig before y'all get set up, because I mean, y'all open up your home. And I got some free food at the mix.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the least I can do, man. Y'all more than welcome.
Absolutely. Coming over.
It.
I might even have some boiled crawfish. I don't know. Just saying.
Oh yeah, you got me there.
I mean, if y'all into that, I mean,
absolutely.
I don't want to offend nobody if I do crawfish.
No, not at all.
Okay, good deal.
Be sacrilege if you didn't.
Cool. So all right. I'd like to get to this point in since we've got 3 of y'all, and if Bobby wants to join in, he can too. 6 records that you just can't live without. Like you're on a desert island, or you about to escape the house is on fire, like I mentioned before. So
6 records.
Who's ready? Who did their homework?
Me.
Apollo.
I would say Carcass, Reek of Putrefaction, Obituary, Cause of Death, Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel, Hot Rats by Frank Zappa, and I would have to say Burn by Deep Purple.
I love Deep Purple's Burn.
Yes.
I love it.
That's a
Sail
good record.
from top to bottom, sail away, dude. Bobby, thank you for the Red Bull.
Cheers.
Cheers.
But yeah, those are the 6 records I'm saving.
I mean, top to bottom, I love
Burn
the
the
choices. That's, yeah.
Who's next?
Wow, he said like 4 of mine. That's not cool. He stole my homework, man. And then the dog ate the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say, yeah, well, I mean, Altars of Madness for sure. As cheesy as it sounds, an album that I really liked as a kid, that was probably one of my precursors for getting into metal too, was Dying Is Your Latest Passion by Escape the Fate with Ronnie Radke as the original vocalist. That album still has a special place in my heart. And everyone's going to judge me because I'm probably like the least like
There's no
extreme
judgment.
metalhead.
You're in a safe place.
At the round table. But yeah, Rush Moving Pictures, Dying Is Your Latest Passion, Sailing the Seas of Cheese by Primus.
Yeah.
Let's say Core, Stone Temple Pilots. Oh man, that's 4. Did I say Altars of Madness yet? Because I would say that was that was definitely like that was one of the first like death metal records I'd ever heard, and it was the auxiliary cable in my car, which I've been driving for about like 7 years now, has been broken for about 6. So all I have is the CDs that I can play through my car, and it was like one of the only CDs I had. So even though at the time when I first listened to it, I was like, I don't know what to think about this. It kept it going. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And I'm going to love it. And how can I get more of it and play it at the same time? But that album, I'm trying to think some other. What, one more?
There's one more.
There's one more.
One more.
Oh, I'm down to one.
Last
Narrowed
one.
it down. Oh man. Never mind. No, I'm just kidding. Ooh, that's a tough one, man. There's so many. I was only ready for 5. Threw me a curveball.
Everyone gets 6.
Everyone gets 6.
Everyone gets 6 on this show.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. How about we go to speed, and I'll give you my surprise 6-1 when I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'd go with stuff out of my personal record collection. So definitely, if the house was on fire, I'd grab my signed copy of Alive that I got signed by Peter Criss, my sealed original pressing of Anthrax Among the Living, Entombed Clandestine, Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. It's just a classic.
Do you like their the first self-titled one?
I love all their stuff,
I mean,
up through the newest one. The newest one's rough.
I just go back to the first 3. That's it.
Oh, they're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So, other than that, my signed copy of Roar from Voivod, and a newer one is Juju by Susie and the Banshees, is just back to front really good, even though you're laughing, Apollo.
I said we're in a safe place, Apollo. There's no judgment.
My bad.
That's a solid 6, dude.
Thank you.
Especially like with the whole clandestine one and Alive. Like most guys your age, 19 years old, they don't know what a clandestine is. They just know Left Hand Path, and leave it at that.
They're both good.
I know they're really good. But clandestine to me, man. Even whenever LG, whenever he died, and someone sniped at me like big time because like I played clandestine and he wasn't on that album, and he was like, "That's Nicky Anderson who was singing all that." I was like, "I know, asshole."
He was still in the band after and before.
Exactly,
so who cares?
exactly. And I was like, you're not. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Just let me enjoy my moment here. I'm paying tribute to the band and tune, not just LG himself. I digress. Your last one, sir.
Synchronicity 2, The Police.
Great album. Great album.
Album's good.
Have fun with this.
Yeah. Little soundboard.
How has since playing music in the New Orleans area, have y'all noticed any like changes amongst the scene? Because y'all spend more time out here than I do, obviously.
So a lot of my coming up in the scene was actually when I was living in Baton Rouge, and it was like this weird. I think the bad omen there was when the Spanish Moon ended up closing down. I don't know if you ever made it to a show out that way. That was such a great place, and it was like this weird spiral after that place closed, where it kind of felt like the walls were closing in on the scene. And there was this other really cool bar, the Bald Eagle, that they had become like a private club now, and they weren't doing as many shows over there. And then there was some issues with Varsity Theater as well, and they weren't doing as many shows over there, or local bands weren't as keen to play there. And then boom, pandemic hits, and that was the thing there. But I mean, as far as New Orleans goes, it's interesting. It's its own animal. Like you get a lot of we had played a show recently at a Parasite skate park. To say we played at the actual skate park is
an understatement.
we played
train track.
We played in between the interstate and the railroad tracks in the field with a lot of broken glass, which did not stop people from moshing at all. There'd been
or falling down and rubbing on the ground,
or lighting pillows on fire in the pit. That was my favorite part.
That was my favorite part as well.
But that was a fun show. But you get stuff like that out there. You know, you get a bit of a greasier crowd out there every once in a while. Something that we realized out here too is that a lot of these clubs, you know, are bars 21 plus. They got like a video poker machine in there, so there's like not even like 18 plus. You know, you have to be 21, and like there's exceptions like Southport and Gasa Gasa, I think, every once in a while. But it's really hard for like, you know, younger kids to get out there and play. And people wonder why there's not younger bands. And I'm like, they don't have a place they can really facilitate that out here. But yeah, it's you know, the small clubs and stuff like that. And it's cool because it's New Orleans. So you get the big acts coming through every once in a while that potential to jump on for. You know, like DRI had come through, and they'd had Brat on the bill, and you know, and Thou coming through as well. And like they take the smaller bands along with them at some of these club shows if you have a good enough relationship with them. And I like that about the New Orleans scene. But yeah, we were talking about it earlier with genres and stuff like that. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of like thrash metal in New Orleans, and there's a lot of like, there's some death metal bands, you know, but it teeters more on the side of grind than it does on death metal,
and the core. There's a lot
black
of
metal, there's grindcore, there's the hardcore, there's the punk stuff, but there's really
a lot of cores,
yeah.
And not the Coors Light. Yeah, I mean, there's some. I don't. Someone told me a couple years back. It's like, oh, it's a deathcore album. I was like, what is that? Like,
right? Remind me, what is deathcore?
The genres escape me a lot of the times too.
And most of the time, it's like, you know, if they sound good, if it slams, as they say, you know, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't, regardless of the genre, you know. But
slam, slaps, hot fire,
and now like, you know, I just got taught what the shit bops. It's a bop, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm 42, whatever.
Now you're on it, man. That's about all I got too. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I've seen, especially because I wasn't really in tune with the scene down here, and I had seen the guy around at shows before, but Hollis Murphy, like when he passed away, and people start showing all these pictures of like all these local shows around New Orleans. I'm like, wow, it's insane. So people went out like crazy for these, you know, underground shows, and I think the pandemic has really just put a huge hindrance on I think everybody's local scene everywhere.
Really,
it probably is. Never, you know, it's going to take some years for it to go back to what people would consider the glory days, and there are still those bands that pack out the houses. It happens every once in a while, but I don't think it happens nearly as often as it used to, and it's much more of an uphill battle now starting a band post-pandemic than it was before, being able to make a name for yourself. Or God forbid if you had just started right before the pandemic and then it hits and then you're really out of luck.
And also thinking about how if the pandemic never happened, probably this project would have never kicked off as well.
That's true. You know, and yes, that's something to that, because there's a lot of things. A lot of people got, you know, laid off from their 9-to-5 jobs. You know, I'm just thinking about people like kind of my age, and I was one of them. And I was like, you know, I was kind of at a crossroads. You know, I need to do something creative. You know, and this, because of COVID. What we're doing here right now is because of COVID. Like I was like, I'm going to start a podcast, man, and I I want to interview bands like yourself and like, you know, help whatever I can to do and spread the reach. Just do my part, because I wish I had someone guiding me, you know, tell me about bands I should know about that's coming up, you know, homegrown here in our state, dude.
Right.
It's much appreciated.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, with the pandemic thing too, you know, now you have a lot of venues with vaccine restrictions and stuff like that, and that'll cut a piece of your crowd out too, right there, and you know,
because not to put any kind of political views or anything, but you do have occasional people who.
Yeah, you know, they're set in their ways. They're not going to do it, and you know, they might have been showgoers, and you know, you could be like, oh well, who needs them? You know, if that's how they feel or whatever. But I mean, in general, it does affect your crowds, regardless.
Value.
You know, there's even national touring acts that have a difficult time booking tours because the same places they want out of state, out of country, even because Gojira had to cancel their big European tour. And they postponed it till like next year, and it's, you know, no show is guaranteed when it's that big of a show. That's another thing too, is shows can cancel on a day's notice, man. Like, I mean, people the day before a gig and some guy tests positive and now they can't walk out on that stage anymore, and it makes me wonder with like Jazz Fest and stuff coming up, and you got guys like, you know, Willie Nelson and stuff laid up there. They had already had an issue with some of their geriatric performers not being able to show up because of health issues. And now on top of that, you have the risk of anybody can test positive 1 or 2 days before a concert and it's canceled. So I think that disheartens a lot of people from wanting to buy tickets and wanting to go out, is that looming fear that something might happen to them, or the show might get canceled and it might not be worth it, or the band they want to go see is not going to be there, or, you know, it's a strange time we live in, and we're just trying to navigate the waters as best as we
around
can.
it. Right.
Y'all doing an excellent job so far, man.
Thanks,
in fact, I was wanting to ask y'all, how would y'all feel about giving the audience or whoever's listening to this a little sneak peek, get like one snippet of your song, one of your songs out there?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Lay one out.
How about Cryogenic Death? Because I love that track.
Hell yeah. Let's put some Cryogenic
All right.
Death.
Holy shit, bro. It gets better every time. I was even more hyped just being here, watching y'all guys listen to it as well, man. Watching Chris just go through the bass part.
That's the bass lines in his head.
Yeah, and let me say, that is one filthy bass tone you have, man.
Thanks, my dude.
I love it. I love it.
It's like 95% a dark glass pedal.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's great. I was really happy with how my bass tone came out on that record. That was really nice. I feel like I'd like to say I've stepped my game up a little bit since then, because it was really like hard to recreate that sound live. So I've had to change my rig around a little bit, and I've kind of found my way to keep that spirit in the live setting, and you know. But thank you all the same.
Absolutely, man. What you using on your pedal board, if anything, man?
I'm not using any pedals. The sound's just coming straight out of the amp. I use a tuning pedal and an EQ pedal. That's about it. It's just mostly straight out of the JCM 800.
Tried and true setup, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. And what kind of kit you got going on?
So I've got a 7-piece 70s Pearl kit with AAX cymbals. Seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I would say so. It's doing a stellar job, man. Absolutely. So now that we heard one of the songs that's coming from the first EP that's going to be released again on February 18th,
yep.
What could we expect as an audience at a live show that for those of you who have not seen Herakleion?
Fast, loud, and every song is going to be coming at you like a punch in the face. No breaks.
Just 35 minutes or more, depending on the venue, of just everything we've got the whole time.
And if you like a riff, well, too bad, because it's going to change in like 20 seconds. You're not going to hear it again. Lots of changes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Death had how many tempo changes in each song?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta keep moving.
That's it. I think, when I hear this and I hear some other young bands that are like coming up with their own death metal sound, but more so with y'all, like it's like, I'll revert back to Chuck, and it's like, the spirit of Chuck lives on, through stuff like this. I mean, and then like your vocals, man, like on Cryogenic especially, I don't know why it is. It's like, almost close my eyes and think about Chuck.
Oh, sweet, dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No, man, it's true. That's what I came up with. And whenever Bobby had contacted me, and I was like, yes, he's gonna give me show me the EP, and I listened to it, and I was like, man, this is like, it's like Chuck, Angel, freaking Megadeth, like perfect unit. Like it's just
everything.
Yeah,
everything. All in one gumbo pot.
That's the best way to put it, man. Yeah. So where would y'all like to take Herakleion into the future? Like, what's the next step for y'all?
Japan.
Japan.
If you ask me where I'd like to go, I would say the bucket list is one day to go to Japan.
Yep.
In the more immediate future, we're doing a pretty big stint. Like, we're hitting the 3 big cities in Louisiana. We're doing the Lafayette, New Orleans, Baton Rouge thing coming up in March, and we're taking some time off after we have a show in April as well. And after our show in April, I think we're taking some time to get this new EP recorded. And our next show won't be in Louisiana. It'll probably be in Texas somewhere. We've been making some connections out there, so hopefully we can get a little stint going out Tejas way. Yeah. And probably next after that would be like Southern Belt of the United States.
South America.
Your Mississippi, your Alabama, your Florida. I mean, South America, I don't know about that.
Spoke out of place there a little bit. But.
Y'all made any contacts in Florida?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Most of our Texas. It's mostly Texas.
It's mostly Texas right now. So we feel a lot more confident we can make something happen over there.
I made a couple connections out in Florida, man. I'm just letting y'all know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
A guy that has his finger on the pulse over there.
You have your people talk to my people.
I will have my people talk to y'all people. Absolutely. Where you want to go Speed?
Anywhere that'll take us. As far as long-term goals, though, for me personally, it's just to try and write our name in the book along with all of the people we look up to, the autopsies and Entombed and all that stuff.
And Morbid Angels and all those dudes. Yeah.
I mean,
if we have X amount of people buying our T-shirts in the Philippines, I want to go and play a show out in the Philippines. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as there are people that like it and that want to have us out there. I'll go there.
I tell you, South America, Philippines, and Japan. You named those three countries, man, and they're all about metal.
They really are.
Germany.
They really are.
Germany too. Yeah. So
I'm sorry. I feel like, Europe is more or less, they get all the good shows over there. It's like
Spoiled.
kind of spoiled, man.
yeah, I mean they have all the good, like the open airs that they have.
Right.
It's like, dude, really? Like
Maryland Death Fest is another place that we'd know.
That's a goal.
Yeah, that's a great goal to have.
Walking.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
And I thought my show was gonna get canceled. I was not gonna get allowed in country, but I just saw it the other day that Norway is like dropping all their borders, so I get to go to Infernal Fest this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, because Creators headlining.
Oh, sweet. God,
So I was like, I'm gonna see Creator finally.
that's great.
Yeah, it kind of stinks always seeing some kind of great festival, and you just know it's guaranteed to not be in this country.
Right.
Oh, I forgot what band. There have Melvin's is playing in New Orleans. No. Take that back.
Corrosion of Conformity,
and Ministry.
Right.
But the Melvins is not playing that night. I was so pissed because I love the Melvins.
Very disappointing.
Very disappointing.
I've seen them. They came through the Spanish Moon pretty often back in the day.
I saw them
that
at
was
St.
one of their
Philip.
stops. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I had seen them before. I think the last time I saw them was when Jeff Pincus was playing bass for them. They had just put out that album with the
Pincus
the light
Abortion
blue
Technician.
Yeah. Pincus Abortion Technician.
And I was able
was a lot of
I was
fun.
able to see them at the Howlin' Wolf. No. One Eye Jacks. Was it One Eye Jacks when they had the big band? They had Dale and Cody and Jared from Big Business.
Oh wow!
And that was, I mean, they tore the roof off of that place.
Yeah, I bet would have been a good one.
And then now, they decided they're not going to play New Orleans.
A lot of people have been skipping New Orleans. I've noticed we don't get a whole lot of love down this way. I mean,
Probably because our COVID numbers are like through the roof.
yeah, sounds about right.
And there's a lot of, it's kind of murdery.
Yeah.
but that's what makes it fun.
It's the culture, man.
It's culture. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's
We're
culture.
doing it for the culture.
That's character.
Anybody want to push anything at that point of the show?
Well, I'd like to go back to the whole local scene thing.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
we've got a decent local scene here, but I think, like Christian mentioned earlier, it would thrive a lot more if all the clubs weren't pushing for this 21 and up thing. Because I'm obviously newer to the scene, having just been able to get into some clubs. Most, like 90% of the shows I've been to, I've had to sneak in because
Right.
no one cares. They're like, "Oh, you're underage. Sorry."
Yeah.
It's really rough, and I think it's a detriment.
And
At
it's
least
young
in the
people
long
that
run.
always bring up a scene, It's,
They really do.
Right.
And yeah, a lot of these guys that we've been talking to in Texas too, a lot of them it's younger crowds. It's like, 15, 16-year-olds. And with the dudes in Void and Lafayette as well, and they're younger and they're all still like high school aged but I mean they're ripping thrash just as good as anybody could do, and having 10 plus years of experience under their belt. I mean,
And there's a whole
And-
3 places they
but
can
yeah,
play in the
and there's
state.
only 2 places for them to play, and it's like that's not fair to them. But yeah, we do have a good scene here. There are a lot of good people that play music out here, and we've been thankful for the opportunities that we've gotten to play out here and the connections we've made that way. But it's time to take the show on the road, and get out there,
For
and
sure.
any
'Cause that's where
big
it's
band will
at.
tell you
That's
hitting
where
the
it's
road
at.
is where
Right.
the real stuff comes from.
Bread
So
and
that's-
butter, the life, the passion, all that just at the end of the day goes into the road.
Yeah.
Goes on wheels.
We're picking up that trailer like March
Yeah.
11th,
Yep.
and we'll be finally road worthy after
Right.
that, and we can go anywhere, man. So I'm really excited. The future looks bright for us. We're gonna be a band we're all friends. Music's going great, and I think we're gonna be a band for a long time. So stick around, man. I mean, It's just the beginning.
I can't wait till y'all put up the shirts and CDs and all that good stuff.
Oh yes,
We got
it's coming
some
soon.
shirts in the other room.
Yeah.
we got some shirts. Yeah, we'll
Yeah, I mean it's
get
all
you some.
it's all on our website and stuff, Herakleion.net. We've got
Yeah, we
all
got
of
shirts.
all of our tour dates, any merchandise that we have is all up there. Links to any of our socials and streaming platforms is all up
Well, I always include each band that comes on in the website in the caption for each episode. So I'll definitely gonna include that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out for sure. I just had the EP that sent to me, which I'm really grateful for. I'm gonna jam it on the way back in again.
Yeah.
It's so good, man. And but man, I want to say thank y'all a lot for letting me come in y'all home, doing this podcast with y'all, get to meet y'all guys. I'm looking forward to the show in Lafayette and many more. I'll come out to New Orleans as well and watch y'all play.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you, sir.
I think y'all got something really special going on, man. I really do. And
Appreciate that,
man. It's just like I said, it's like a breath of fresh air for me. Like just watching younger guys like yourselves come up with the music I grew up to, and doing it justice because y'all doing it more than just that. Y'all,
Cheers.
yeah, dude.
Cheers.
Cheers
Thank
to
you,
that.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having us on, man. Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
very
Oh,
much.
definitely.
No problem. Shit. In fact, we'll do it again. Once the next EP drops.
Oh, yeah.
Or the next full length, whatever, man. We'll come back. We'll talk about that too.
We'll be ready.
And y'all have some more experience touring wise. So.
Absolutely. We would have done a tour by then for sure, I think.
Some wild stories. You're gonna see some. You might see your first pair of boobs. I don't know.
Oh man, I hope not before marriage.
All right, man. Well, again, this is Speed, Apollo, and Christian from Herakleion. 3 charming lads from New Orleans, by way of Baton Rouge, Greece, New York, and y'all be out to look out for these guys. They're playing again, Freetown Boomer Room in Lafayette on March 5th. Y'all have a show before that though, don't you? Y'all play New Orleans?
Yes, the night before at the Goat.
They're in the GOAT, so make it, and you'll thank me later. All right, y'all. This is Mo. Blaine not with me, obviously, but we love you all the same, buddy. Hope you're slaving it at work. Okay, we out.